When I first moved into the new room, the only thing I noticed was the smell. Not a bad smell, not rot, not mold, just warm, like someone had been lying there for hours before I arrived. It was a Thursday evening in late October, the kind where the wind felt sharp and the air smelled like dying leaves. I had finally found a cheap room to rent in a shared house near campus in Austin, Texas. The kind of place where the floors creaked at every step, the paint peeled in thin curls from the walls, and every door felt just a little misaligned. The landlord, a thin man named Cole, handed me the key without even making eye contact. "Rooms upstairs, second door on the left," he muttered. No welcome, no explanation, just the key cold in my hand. He walked away before I even responded. I should have turned around right there, but I needed the room. And I was tired, so I climbed the stairs, lugged my suitcase behind me, and pushed open the door to my new life. The moment I stepped inside, I felt it, a shift, a heaviness, like someone invisible moved past me, brushing my shoulder almost. I froze. The room wasn't big. Just a bed pushed against the wall, a tiny desk under a squeaky window, and a closet with its door cracked open. The ceiling was low enough that I could touch it if I stretched. Everything looked normal, except the smell, that warm, heavy scent, human, almost, recent. I dropped my bag and sat on the edge of the bed. The mattress sank deeper than it should have, like something pressed down from underneath. I lifted my weight. It rose slowly, artificially slowly, like whatever was beneath it was resisting. A chill crawled up my arms. I leaned forward, and that's when I heard it. A faint, unmistakable sound. Breathing, slow, measured, right below me, my entire body locked. I didn't move, couldn't move. I listened again. Inhale, exhale, soft, human, alive. My heart hammered against my ribs so hard my vision blurred. I whispered, barely moving my lips. "Hello?" The breathing didn't stop. It didn't speed up, didn't shift, didn't react at all, like the person, or whatever it was, didn't care whether I knew it was there. I stood up so quietly my bones felt like glass and backed away from the bed. The breathing continued. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, and held it toward the floor, my hand shaking violently. The light stretched across the wooden boards, dusty, scratched, untouched. Then the beam crept toward the bed frame, closer, closer. My breath caught in my throat. I kneeled slowly, forcing myself to look underneath. The flashlight flickered once, and then I saw it. Not a person, not an animal. Something curled up tight, with long, chalk-white limbs folded against its body. Skin so pale it looked almost translucent. Hair long and tangled like it hadn't moved in weeks. The shape of a shoulder, a spine, the back of a neck. It looked human, but the way it moved wasn't. The chest rose and fell too slow, too controlled, like it was mimicking breathing rather than needing it. I dropped the flashlight. It rolled away, spinning until it faced the closet. The thing didn't react, didn't flinch, didn't acknowledge me at all. I backed toward the door, hand groping blindly for the knob, eyes locked on the bed like it might explode. The moment my fingers touched metal, something changed. The breathing stopped completely. The silence hit so sudden it made my ears ring. Then, a whisper, not from under the bed, from behind me. "Are you leaving already?" I froze. Cold sweat dripped down my spine. The voice was right next to my ear, male, soft, too calm. I turned around so slowly my bones hurt. No one was there. The hallway behind me was empty, dead silent, dimly lit. I looked back at the bed. The thing under it was gone, vanished. I stumbled backward into the hall, slamming into the wall. Footsteps creaked downstairs, not fast, just one at a time, like someone who owned the house. Someone who lived here long before I arrived. Then they stopped. A door opened somewhere on the lower floor, then closed. I stood alone, shaking, trying not to vomit. I thought about leaving, running, never looking back, but the truth was, I had nowhere else to go, and something, some twisted, stupid curiosity, kept whispering inside me, "Check again. Make sure you saw what you think you saw." So I stepped back into the room. The warm smell was stronger now. The closet door was wider open. My suitcase, untouched a minute ago, was unzipped, clothes spilling out. The pillow on the bed had a new indentation, like someone's head had been resting there just moments before. And written in the dust on the wall, letters long and dragged like a finger traced them slowly. "You're late." My legs almost gave out. I backed toward the door again, but before I reached it, the floorboard under the bed creaked. Something crawled inside the mattress, not under it, inside it. The whole bed lifted a full inch, sagged, then flattened again. I stopped breathing. A low groan vibrated from the springs, like something adjusting itself, settling deeper inside the layers of fabric. Then a voice from the mattress itself. "I was waiting for you." I sprinted out of the room so fast the door slammed into the wall behind me. I didn't stop running until I reached the kitchen downstairs. Cole was there, standing perfectly still, staring at the wall like he'd been waiting for me to arrive. His eyes didn't blink. He didn't move. He just said, "You met him, didn't you?" My mouth opened, but no sound came out. Cole sighed, a tired, defeated sound. Then he nodded once. "You're the new one," he whispered. "He always likes the new ones." I stepped back. "What? What is he?" Cole didn't answer. He just pointed a shaky finger up toward my room. "He picked you," he said, "so don't try to leave. It will make him excited." The kitchen lights flickered. Footsteps creaked on the stairs behind me. Slow, deliberate, coming down, coming closer. Cole whispered, "Don't turn around." I felt breath on the back of my neck. Warm, too close. My whole body went numb. And then a hand, cold and bony, slid across my shoulder. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Not after what I saw. Not after the pale fingers slid back under my bed like something ashamed of being caught. The house felt colder that night. Colder than the outside November air. The kind of cold that feels like it comes from inside the walls or inside the ground beneath them. I sat on my mattress with my legs pulled up to my chest, phone light shaking in my hands. Every little sound made my heart slam against my ribs. The wood creaked, the pipes groaned, the heater rattled, and under all those noises, I heard breathing, slow, shallow, directly under me, like someone was lying face up, staring at the wooden slats beneath my mattress. Waiting, watching, I froze. The breathing matched no rhythm I knew, not sleepy, not calm, not human. It had a strange unevenness, like lungs that had forgotten how to work, but were trying to imitate the memory. I whispered to myself, "It's an animal, that's it. An animal, a raccoon, something small." But I knew I was lying. No raccoon whispers, and I swear I heard whispering. Soft scraping breaths forming syllables that were almost words. I leaned forward slowly, gripping the mattress. If I moved too fast, I was terrified the thing underneath would move faster. Then, a faint knock from under the bed, one single knock, not accidental. Not from pipes, not the house settling. A deliberate knock like a knuckle tapping wood. My lungs snapped shut. I crawled backward toward the bedroom door, grabbing the handle with trembling fingers just as another knock came. Not from under the bed this time, from inside the closet. My head whipped toward it. The closet door rattled once, then again. A slow, dragging sound slid across the floor inside the closet, like bare feet being pulled across wood. I bolted. I ran out of the room, down the hallway, down the stairs, straight into the living room where the only warm light glowed from a lamp in the corner. My roommate, Connor, sat half-asleep on the couch, scrolling through his phone. He looked up when he heard me, eyebrows lifting. "Dude, you look like hell. What happened?" I tried to speak, but the words jammed in my throat. When they finally came out, they were shaky and thin. Someone is under my bed." He blinked, then snorted, "Bro, seriously, it's an old house. You probably heard the furnace kick." I grabbed his wrist. "Connor, I'm not joking. I saw fingers, human fingers, slide back under the bed." He stared at me longer this time. Not laughing, not dismissing, just looking. Then he swallowed hard. "Okay," he said quietly. "There's something I didn't tell you when you moved in." My breath caught. "What?" He glanced toward the hallway before whispering, "Your room used to belong to the previous tenant, a girl named Marisa." What happened to her? He hesitated, and that silence terrified me more than anything. She disappeared. The floor felt like it tilted beneath me, disappeared when, 3 months before you moved in. They never found her, but the weird thing is, she told me something before she went missing. He exhaled slowly, rubbing his face. She said someone was living under her bed. My stomach dropped into ice. You're lying. I whispered, I wish I was. Connor forced a shaky laugh. She said she'd hear breathing at night. Said she'd feel someone pulling her sheets down. Said she once woke up and saw a face staring at her from the shadows under the frame. My skin crawled. What kind of face? He swallowed hard. That's the thing. She said she couldn't tell if it was human. I felt faint. And you didn't tell me this before I moved into the room. You wouldn't have taken it if I did. Something clattered upstairs, something heavy. Connor and I froze. A long, dragging noise followed, like furniture sliding across the floor of my room. Then a thud, another. Something was moving around my room, walking. I grabbed Connor's arm. Need to leave. Now, he nodded quickly. We rushed toward the front door, but as Connor reached for the knob, every light in the house flickered violently. The lamp in the living room buzzed, flashed, then died. Darkness swallowed the house whole. The only sound was the breathing, not from upstairs, not from downstairs, from behind us, slow, wet, cold, like lungs filled with mud. Connor squeezed my hand. Don't turn around, he whispered, but I already had. And through the darkness, barely illuminated by the moonlight oozing through the window, I saw it. Long, pale fingers curled around the bottom of the staircase, one hand, then another, then a face emerged, not crawling, not dragging. It was pulling itself down the stairs backward, head tilted unnaturally, hair hanging like dead vines. Its eyes shifted to me, black, wet, reflecting nothing. Its mouth stretched open wider, too wide for anything living. It whispered, "You moved into my room." Connor screamed. I grabbed him and yanked him out the door. We ran into the freezing night, barefoot, adrenaline turning the world into a blur. We didn't look back. We didn't breathe until we reached the car and locked ourselves inside. But even as we drove away, even when the house was a tiny shape in the rearview mirror, I could still hear the whisper, not from behind me, not from outside, from under my seat. I'm not done with you. I don't know how long I stood there staring at the empty space beneath my bed, the space where he used to sleep. The floorboards still looked darker there, as if his body had been pressed into the wood for years. The air felt wrong, older than the rest of the room, like whatever had been living under my bed had taken its warmth with it. I tried convincing myself it was over, that he was gone, that I was finally safe, but people like me, we don't get that kind of luck. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. I flinched at the sound. I didn't want to pick it up, but ignoring it felt worse. When I checked the screen, my stomach twisted. It was a text, an unknown number, just words. I'm awake. I froze. My hands shook as I typed back, "Who is this?" But before I could hit send, the message deleted itself. I didn't delete it. My phone did, or something inside it. The room felt like it inhaled. The closet door creaked. Slowly, painfully, like it hadn't moved in decades. A faint shuffle came from inside, soft but deliberate. My breath caught. I backed toward the hallway, but the doorknob behind me rattled as if someone on the other side was lightly testing it. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where I'd be safest. Then a voice drifted out of the closet. A whisper so quiet it felt like it was happening directly in my ear. "You took my room?" My legs barely worked. I stumbled backward, grabbed the front door, and ran outside into the freezing night air. I didn't look back. I couldn't. If I saw him, I knew my mind would break. The landlord didn't answer my calls. My friend Josh texted me saying I sounded crazy. Nobody believed me, not about the man under the bed, not about the notes he left, not about the voice. I spent that entire night in my car, watching the windows of my room from the driveway. At 3:11 a.m., the curtains moved, not from wind, from someone inside, someone looking out at me. The silhouette stood there for almost 20 minutes, perfectly still, watching. The next morning, I went to the police. They searched the room, no sign of forced entry, Nobody hiding anywhere, no fingerprints, no footprints, nothing. The officer suggested I was sleep deprived. I didn't argue. It was easier than explaining the truth. But when I got home, there was a new note waiting on my bed. You left your door unlocked. I watched you sleep long before you found me. The handwriting looked shaky, like someone who hadn't used a pen in years. Something inside me snapped. Fear turned into anger. What do you want from me? I shouted into the empty room. What are you? The floorboards creaked, not beneath the bed this time. Right behind me, a cold breath touched the back of my neck. I just want my space back. I turned and saw him for the first time in full daylight. He was tall, too tall for a normal man, with limbs that seemed one joint too long at every angle. His skin hung loosely, paper thin, veins pressed against it like cracks in porcelain. His hair was sparse, falling in patches. His eyes, they weren't human, they were milky, unfocused, yet somehow tracking me perfectly. He smiled. I wished he hadn't. You made it so clean, he whispered. So warm, so perfect. I was afraid you wouldn't let me return. I backed toward the hallway, heartbeat thundering, but he slid forward faster than he should have been able to move. His body didn't walk, it glided, like he was being pulled from underneath. You don't have to leave, he said softly. There's room for both of us. His neck stretched as he lowered himself toward the floor, crawling under the bed like a spider folding its legs. Come down here, he whispered. It's your turn. I bolted. I didn't pack a bag. I didn't look back. I grabbed my keys and sped out of the driveway so fast I nearly hit the mailbox. I drove until the town disappeared in my rearview mirror. I didn't return. I found a new place. A small apartment on the 4th floor, no closets, no underbed space. I sleep on a mattress placed directly on the floor. I triple check the locks. I leave lights on. I pretend I'm fine. Weeks passed without incident, until last night. At 2:19 a.m. I heard something underneath me. A soft knocking from under the mattress. 3 slow taps. Then a whisper. Can I come back home now? I nearly passed out. I stood up so quickly I fell backward into the wall. The mattress lifted, just an inch. Like something underneath it was pushing upward. I ran out of the room. I haven't gone back in since. I'm sitting in the living room right now, writing this, every light turned on. I know he's still under there, waiting, scratching, breathing. I can hear his fingers dragging across the wood. He never wanted just the room. He wants me, and the horrible part, he's getting closer every night, and soon. There won't be anywhere left for me to run because the man under my bed isn't under the bed anymore. He's standing behind me, and he's smiling.